Hey guys, what's up? We are back with another video today, and today we are doing an NFL mock draft for the Green Bay Packers. I'm here with my friend, American Football Network. How are you doing, Lincoln?
Doing pretty good. We neither one of us have done a Packers mock draft in a while. A lot of things have changed. I don't think we've done a Packers mock draft since the one we did together. I think back in like January it was.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since we've done one. So it'd be good to do one with the updated, after the combine, all that stuff's going on. Some free agency and stuff's happened. We got some news that the Packers are probably going to be having more than one first round pick now, with Aaron Rodgers going to be playing for the Jets once they work a deal out. So
if that ever happens.
Yeah, if the deal ever gets worked out. So, but yeah, it'll be good to do one with the updated. But yeah, just help me reach 800 subscribers by the end of March. And I know you got a goal.
I got 1,000. I'm closing in on it. It feels great to be able to get close to 1K after almost 4 or 5 years of doing this. So it's just crazy how long it's been going on, and 2 years since I've really taken it seriously. So we're going to go ahead and get started with this mock draft.
So the Packers have the 15th pick, 45th pick, 78, 116, 149, 170, 232, 235, 242, and 256. So they have some pretty good draft capital if they do end up deciding come draft time to move up for a guy. But we don't do we're not doing
any trades in this draft.
One. Gosh, this thing is going slow.
Will Anderson went to the Bears at 9. If that happened, if the Bears got Will Anderson at 9, I would be probably the happiest person on earth. Probably. So I'm going to – Lincoln is going to have the final say. I will say who I want, and then Lincoln will have the final say with being a Green Bay Packers fan. My personal opinion, it's probably going to be probably a Nolan Smith. I like Lucas Van Ness, but the problem is he's so raw, and he didn't even start at Iowa. And it's not because he wasn't a good player. It's because Kirk Ferentz doesn't know how to run a college football team. I get that he's been there for 20 years, but that's why he's mediocre and never wins anything big. It's because he doesn't let young, talented guys start. So I'm going to go with Nolan Smith as my pick.
Yeah, I think my pick would be Lucas Van Ness, just because of the way the Packers draft. They really like guys who are very athletic, and I think Van Ness is pretty athletic. I know Nolan Smith is. I mean, he probably had the best combine of anybody at the combine, but I do think that Lucas Van Ness, his numbers aren't quite as good as Nolan Smith's, but I do think he's a little bit more talented, and I think he just kind of fits the scheme that the Packers like to run. I think Van Ness just kind of fits into the Packers style, especially being from Iowa. So he's, that you got to factor in the cold weather with some of these guys too. You get some of them, they're not necessarily wanting to go play in the cold, but I think Van Ness has shown, he can play in cold weather. Not only that, he's very talented, and I like him. He's got a lot of moves in his bag to pull out and get after the quarterback.
Yeah, he definitely is a very talented player. And I think with Green Bay, it does help that you are able to have guys in front of him that he doesn't have to immediately start, or at least have significant downs. Maybe he's starting, but Green Bay does have some decent depth on that defensive line. So heading into the next pick, at pick number 45, like we said, we're not doing trades. At pick number 45, I'm going to go with Luke Musgrave. I think he is a great receiving threat. The Packers need a tight end, but they also need another receiving threat, and I think Lucas Musgrave does both.
I personally like Darnell Washington a little bit better, just because of his blocking ability that he brings along with him as well. He definitely at the combine looked the best of the tight ends when it came to blocking. He just has a huge frame, pretty much unguardable just his size is insane. A very good catcher of the football. His hands are so big that I don't think the size increase of the ball is going to bother him at all. He made a great one-handed catch on the sideline at the combine. I like Darnell Washington a lot, and it just always seems to like the Packers take somebody from Georgia every year.
Yeah.
And so I think it is, which maybe where Nolan Smith would be a good case to have taken Nolan Smith 15th if they take a Georgia player in the first round.
Yeah. Didn't you guys take 2 Georgia players a couple of years ago in the first round?
I think it was the year we got Eric Stokes. We took 2 Georgia players first round. I know last year we also took Quay Walker first round
Yeah.
out of Georgia.
Yeah, that's the 2 guys that I was getting together with Eric Stokes and Quay Walker. Were they the same draft
I
class?
think Eric Stokes was the year before Quay Walker. Maybe
Okay,
they were. Maybe they were the same.
Maybe. I don't know.
I can't
I'll look
remember.
that up.
Yeah, look that up.
But as we get to the next pick here, pick number 78, I know who I will be taking. Excuse me. If he is still available, let's see if he is. So my personal opinion with this is going to be Sidney Brown, the safety at Illinois. I think that he fits a need that's pretty important for them in filling that Adrian Amos slot that they're going to need after. Is Amos a free agent this year or next year?
I think next year.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
he's a free agent next year.
Brown is an important part to have. And plus, Brown can also play nickel. If you really want to get him on the field, I think he can play nickel, and I think that that's where he's going to improve. So who are you going to take at pick number 78?
So at number 78, let me see if he's here. And he is. I'm going with Kayshon Boutte, the wide receiver from LSU. I do like Nathaniel Dell, but I think the problem with Nathaniel Dell over Kayshon Boutte for the Packers is Dell is a lot smaller. He's more of a speed guy, whereas the Packers really need a guy who can just be a big body, kind of short receiver type guy. They have Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, the 2 guys that can really get downfield. And so I like bringing in I really like bringing in Boutte to kind of be the, kind of like the Alan Lazard type guy for him. Not the burner down the field, but a guy that has a big body, knows how to use his body to really get open and make some plays down the field for you.
So with this pick at number 116, I'm going to be going J.L. Skinner. Not Skinner. Jair Brown. I'm sorry. The reason why not Skinner is because Skinner tore his ACL at the end of the year, so he's probably going to miss most of the offseason workouts and stuff like that. Maybe he'll be drafted for training camp, but it's possible he's not. And then that misses a lot of that offseason workouts, which is really important for a rookie. So who are you going to take with pick number 116?
Yeah, so with 116, I'm also going Jair Brown for the same reason. I think both of them are just as talented as each other. I think they have similar skill sets. But like you said, it's a little concerning that JL Skinner tore his ACL, probably going to miss the majority of the offseason. Those offseason training camps and stuff like that, rookie camps are just so important for these young rookies to really get in and not only put a lot of weight on and really get big, but also to get some experience around some of the other guys in the NFL and to really get a foot in the door in the NFL and start working towards improving themselves, getting better players, and being season ready.
Yeah, and that's one thing that, like, for him and especially Andrew Vornej, the guard out of USC, the Southern Cal USC, I do have to specify that as a South Carolinian. He tore his ACL at the combine, and, well, if you tear your ACL, that means he's going to miss the entire year. So he went from about being a 4th-round draft pick to being 6th or 7th round. It really drops your value, not only in our eyes, but in eyes of GMs as well.
For sure. And it was actually 2022. We were talking about the Georgia players. They got Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt in the first round at 22 and 28 last year.
Okay. With this pick, I am going to go with Riley Moss, another talented guy out of Iowa. Has a lot of length to him, can play good at both nickel and outside. So that's who I'm going to go with at this spot.
Yeah, I was seeing who was available necessarily at the receiver position. I think Bryce Ford Wheaton's going to be a very good player. I think he's going to be a guy that you take a little bit later on. So, yeah, I am going to go with Riley Moss as well, the corner from Iowa. He's a very good man. Corner can also has a lot of experience in zone with that Iowa defense, and he's also has very good ball skills, and like you said, just a very smart, talented player. I think he fits in with Green Bay style, so make that the second Iowa defender that the Packers take here in this mock draft.
So with this mock draft, I think that the Packers have addressed pretty much all of their issues outside of offensive tackle. With David Bakhtiari possibly gone, the Jets have been looking to see if they could also grab Bakhtiari. That's the one thing that I've seen is if you're going to get a first round, it may be Rodgers and Bakhtiari going, which could make sense for the Jets. You do you like your guard play with the but Bakhtiari Mekhi Becton, not Bakhtiari. Mekhi Becton has kind of worked out, but not as much as you would look for in that. So with this next pick, I would definitely go with Deuce Vaughn. I'm a big fan of Deuce Vaughn, and I think that he fits the system there in Green Bay. Maybe Moro Ogiom, the D lineman out of Texas, but either one of those players, or even Isaiah McGuire, if you really wanted to add to the depth of the edge rushing core.
So my pick is a guy that I saw available last pick. I thought about taking. I don't think he's going to be this far down when it actually comes down to it. But I am going to go – actually, I don't think he's there anymore. Let me look.
Who are you looking for?
He might already be gone. I think he is gone. Yeah, I was looking for Bryce Ford-Wheaton, the wide receiver from West Virginia. I'm looking back. I believe he already went somewhere. Yep, he went to San Francisco at 155.
That'd be a scary pairing.
Yeah, that would be quite the young, talented receiving core for the Packers. You know, once – give it about 2 years where Watson and Dobbs are in year 3 and then Booty and Wheaton are in year 2. That would be one of the better receiving cores in the in the league, probably, especially when you throw in the age of them and how
I don't know if I'd call it one of the better ones. You definitely have to have them develop, but
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, if they develop into their potentials. So at 170 for me, I'm actually going Keandre Coburn. I just like him better than Moro Ojomo and Tyler Lacey. I think Coburn is a guy that should probably go, in the 4th round. So if you get him in the 5th, that's a good pickup, in my opinion. I don't think that in the 5th round you want to be taking a running back just yet because you have Aaron Jones who signed a contract. So you have him for 3 more years, I believe.
Is it 3 more years? I thought it was only like 1 or 2.
No, I think it was like a 4-year deal that he signed. Okay. It was a 3 or 4 year deal that he signed. So at the minimum, you have him for 2 more years. And then the Packers just love paying running backs. So they'll probably re-sign A.J. Dillon as well. Yeah. And with the numbers he's put up because he's been that second running back, they're probably going to get a discount on him when you consider his talent and his level of play.
When did you guys draft? What round did you draft A.J. Dillon in? I forget.
I think he was a 2nd rounder.
Okay, yeah.
2nd or 3rd. It was one of those two.
That's the only thing that I don't get about the Packers that I think they made kind of stupid decisions is that you got Aaron Jones, and then you use a 2nd or 3rd round pick. I think it's a 2nd.
I think it's a 2nd, yeah.
To draft A.J. Dillon, who is a good running back. Don't get me wrong. I like him.
But you don't need him.
No, you don't. And especially if you're going to re-sign him or re-sign Aaron Jones. That's the only part that I'm in the do not re-sign a running back camp. So that's where my opinion always is going to lie. So with this next pick upcoming, we're closing in on it, but there is quite a few picks in between. Packers, man, where'd you guys get all these 7th round draft picks?
I have no clue.
You guys must have got a lot of compensation picks or something. My pick would be Ricky Stromberg here. I don't think you need a center, but I think Stromberg is a really good add, and I think you could add to your team.
Yeah, I think Stromberg is a very good add. Maybe switch him to guard or something like that. But I'm going to go with Keaton Mitchell here, the running back from East Carolina. I think that Mitchell offers a very good value right here to get him in the 7th round. And I think this way now you can let A.J. Dillon go. And Keaton Mitchell, very good in pass protection. Needs to improve on the footwork a little bit, but considering his size, he's very good in pass protection. Then looking at his run game, he's very explosive out of the backfield, can also catch the ball out of the backfield, so I like him.
So with this next pick, I'm gonna look for a quarterback, and I think Clayton Tune out of Houston played well in college. Not going to be an absolute great pro, but I do think he adds depth to a quarterback room that could definitely use it.
I like Clayton Tune, but I'm not going to take him at 235. See who's still available here. A lot of running backs up there at the top.
Some solid running backs too.
Yeah, there is. I'm going to take Nick Hampton, though, the edge from App State. I think, like you're talking about with Isaiah McGuire earlier on, just add some depth into that edge class, which I don't think would be a bad option there. I think he's a pretty talented edge rusher, and I think he could really help the Packers team out a lot.
You can never have enough guys in the trenches, really.
Definitely not.
Another player that I would suggest, even though I would draft Clayton Tune once again, is Rajon Wright, the cornerback out of Oregon State. Played really well this season as second fiddle to the other cornerback out of Oregon State that I can't think
of his name.
Neither one of them were like really good, really high value guys in the NFL, but played really well in college.
I'm going to go with Nick Saldiveri here. Just get some offensive tackle depth in there, like we were just talking about. Can never have enough depth in the trenches. So I think getting him in there, I got to be honest, I really don't know who the guy is, but just get some offensive tackle depth in there, and yeah, just help the trenches out, because like you said, the way these guys go down and the way injuries happen, you can never have too many of them, and that, especially the way the Packers work, that is one of the most important positions for them, is the defensive line and offensive line.
With this pick, probably Malik Cunningham is who I'd go. I don't really have any guys that are too interesting. Maybe an Elijah Higgins, stuff like that. There's not really anybody that I really, really like at this point in the draft. Maybe Alani Phelps, but who are you going to take, Lincoln?
So with 256, I'm going to a quarterback, but probably a guy none of you guys are expecting. I'm going with Holton Ahlers, the quarterback from East Carolina. This dude, he has a big body, a big arm. He's got all the stuff you can't teach. He does need to be developed, but I think he'll turn into a solid backup quarterback and a good option to have in your quarterback room. That's pretty thin, and you have a lot of inexperienced guys in there with Jordan Love being the headliner of it.
So we're going to recap here. We're going to round up with our picks. At pick number 15, we have Lucas Van Ness, the edge rusher out of Iowa. At pick number 45, Darnell Washington, the tight end out of Georgia. At pick 78, the Keyshawn Butte, the wide receiver out of LSU. At 116, Jair Brown, the safety out of Penn State. At pick 149, we have Riley Moss, the cornerback out of Iowa. At pick 170, we have Kendra Coburn, the defensive lineman out of Texas. Really just it should be addressed as the nose tackle out of Texas.
Yeah.
At pick 232, we have Keaton Mitchell, the running back out of East Carolina. At pick 235, we have Nick Hampton, the edge rusher out of App State. At pick 242, Nick Saldiveri, the offensive tackle out of Old Dominion. And at 256, we wrap it up with Holton Ahlers, the quarterback out of East Carolina. So that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Thank you, the American Football Network, for coming on here. Any closing thoughts from you with this Packers team that, still does not have an offseason complete without an Aaron Rodgers saga to go along with it?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Rodgers. I think, he will be traded to the Jets, obviously. I hope Bakhtiari goes with him, because he's been injured, and whenever he did play last year, he wasn't very effective. So it would be nice to send both of those, maybe get 2 firsts for it carried by Aaron Rodgers. I think the Jets would be, desperate enough for a quarterback to send that to him. Although I want to say, the Jets have the leverage here because Rodgers wants to play with them.
Yeah.
But I also think at the same time, the Packers have the leverage here. Neither team really has the leverage, because if the Packers are getting a terrible offer for him, they don't necessarily have to trade him, so they can dig their boots in the ground and really get an offer that they like. I do think it does kind of suck, though, that the Jets are the only team going after him, and that's what really helps give them the leverage, is that there's no other team going after Rodgers.
In the end, the Jets can wait around all day, and the Packers really can't.
Yeah.
They need to have him traded before the draft. The Jets do not have to have him traded before the draft, because if they don't get him before the draft, they're gonna draft like they're going to have him gone, or like they're going to have him, because the Jets don't have a position to take a quarterback. And because even if you do take Aaron Rodgers or you do take him, you can still draft a Hendon Hooker or a Tanner McKee later rounds, even if you're assuming that you get Rodgers. I think that that's not a bad idea to have a guy behind Rodgers, because Rodgers is only going to last for a year or two, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think he's only on contract for like 3 more years, and he's a ton of money. So if he's not performing, just all the stuff around him, with retiring and all this stuff, there's no way he stays 3 more years. I think you have him next year and maybe 1 year after, and I think he's done.
So that's going to wrap up today's video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and go check out American Football Network. That's going to wrap it up here, as we will join you next time.